God morning, grand rising, good morning, and buenos dias. And hello. Thank you for joining us again on the Unfiltered Truth podcast, whenever and wherever you're listening from. This morning, I would like to share with you a new series that we are starting called Weekday Wakeup. And what we're going to do in this series is I'm going to give you a short video or a podcast episode. Video is on YouTube. You can see that at Unfiltered Truth. And if you're on YouTube, you can check out the podcast on Spotify at also Unfiltered Truth. What we're going to do is have a short video, no more than 20 minutes or so, that will allow you to be inspired, uplifted, and motivated on your commute to work if that's what you're doing. Dropping the kids off to school, maybe running errands, or whenever you decide to do that. But it's a little pick-me-up for your weekday. That's the point. I don't know how consistent I'm going to be able to do this. Like if I'm going to do these every day or how that's going to go. I'm going to kind of go off of your response. So if you're listening on the podcast on Spotify, check out the poll so that you can vote on, how you like this type of approach. And I do plan on also doing some longer episodes about deeper topics as well. This is not to replace that. This is basically to supplement that. The format of this, I will be sharing some inspirational text from various sources, not just one. And at the end, you will have a little tidbit that you can take with you. So stick with me for that. Okay, so the book that I'm using today, and I may be using it for a little while, is one of my favorite books. This is a book by Ian Van Zandt, and it's called Faith in the Valley. And this book, if you heard the previous episode where I was discussing a little bit about my spiritual background and journey, this is a book that really helped me when I did not have a church home. It's shorter than a devotional. There's no long passages. There's no questions. It's just a little short piece of text. And there's a little affirmation at the bottom. You can see my book is very old and, kind of tattered. I got lots of dog-eared pages with sticky notes, and there's a couple coffee stains. The binding is a little bit on the verge of shattering in the middle. But it's all good. We can still read it. So I'm going to share a little bit of this and then we'll dive in. So this particular piece is about perception. And there is a little saying or thought that you may be thinking at the time that you're dealing with a challenge. And one thing I like about this book is you can look up topics in the back. You can also look up thoughts or things that you might be saying to yourself, phrases, to figure out what passage would be best for you to read at the time. So this one, the phrase says, "Oh Lord, take me now." And this again is about perception. And it says, "You can get so caught up in being miserable that you will not see your blessing when it comes. You can become so addicted to having crisis in your life that the minute one crisis is resolved, you are on the lookout for the next one. It is very easy to miss the perfectly delightful experiences and moments of peace or joy when you are preoccupied with all the possible tragedies that could befall you. It is quite possible that you have many of the bad situations you have in your life because you pay so much attention to them. They feel welcomed. It is also reasonable to believe that if you stopped paying so much attention to the bad things, they will feel neglected and go away. If you don't believe it, try it just to see if it works. When a bad situation gets no attention, it becomes a better situation." There is one line in the bottom at the end of this passage that says, "If you don't believe it, try it just to see if it works." So on this episode, I'm going to tell you about how I tried it and it did work. It does work. So there is nothing these are based on what I've learned. There's nothing more powerful than going through a very hectic, chaotic, stressful, dramatic, maybe toxic situation of any sort. And, feeling almost like blindsided, and then pulling back, detaching, and redirecting your energy onto something else more positive. There's nothing more powerful than that, in my opinion. So we can do this in many ways. Sometimes we have to pull back from people. We have to redirect our energy, back onto ourselves or back onto other things, because those situations are just not healthy. Or sometimes, we go through a catastrophe and we're just trying to recenter and regroup. Okay. So I am not in any way saying not to feel your feelings. This is not toxic positivity. That's not what I'm trying to do here. But I am saying to realize that things do not necessarily happen to us. They happen for us. So when those things happen for us or to us that seem so horrible, so stressful, so daunting, feel the feelings. Feel the feelings for however long you need to feel the feelings. But just please try not to stay there for too long. Personally, I give myself a window of time to be all in my feelings, ugly cry, do whatever I have to do. And once that window of time is up, then I need to move on. I need to pick myself up. Some things take longer than others, but I feel my feelings and then I move on. And the reason for that is because there's too much going on to be grateful for. There's always something else to be grateful for. And shifting our perception on the things that we view as tragedies or, bad circumstances and things like that, it really empowers us to realize that, hey, we can make it. We've made it through other things that were worse, and we can make it through this too. And along the way, we can still enjoy the sunshine that's outside or the perfectly tempered weather, the perfect temperature that we get to experience or some, whatever else it is that we enjoy. Okay, there's lots of things that we can always discover to be grateful about. So I'm going to share a quick story, and this story is so crazy. There was so much stuff that happened, y'all, in one day. It was just ridiculous. So, this had to be the most dramatic day I had ever had in my life. So it's summertime, and as I said in the previous episode, I'm a teacher. So summertime, I don't have to work, and I did have a lot of other things going on. But, I have the jewelry business and other things like that, school, stuff like that. So, I woke up in the morning and I'm thinking oh, good. I don't have anything to do except wash clothes. That's all I got to do. So I'm excited. I get to hang out with my boys, my babies at the time. I had just gotten divorced recently, so my babies were still young. They were 3 and 1 at the time. That's why I'm saying babies. And so my oldest was in pull-ups. My youngest was in diapers. And I'm thinking I'm just going to hang out with them, wash clothes. I go downstairs to the basement to wash clothes, and boom, the dryer is not working. What happened? Why is the dryer not working? It has never gone out before. Why is it doing this today? That's the only thing that I have to do. It was a little frustrating, but I was like, okay, well, whatever. I wasn't in my feelings, but I was frustrated for a little bit. And then I was like, okay, well, forget it. Let me just wash all the clothes, put them in laundry baskets. And when I get everything done, I'll just take them to the laundromat and dry them. Okay. Now, my biggest problem was trying to figure out what I'm going to do with the boys when I go to the laundromat. How can I take them with me while I dry the clothes? Because, 3 years old in a laundromat wants to run all over the place, and I don't want to do that. Meanwhile, 1-year-old is going to need to be in some type of device here and there every now and every few minutes because he was just starting to walk, and it was just a lot. So I'm talking through this with my mom, trying to sort things out. And then the day just goes on. Not a big deal. We figure out a plan and we just keep moving. Okay. So the day goes on, and my youngest son needed to take a nap, and my oldest son wanted to go in the driveway and ride his bike with the training wheels. So I pulled my car back to the end of the driveway to give him a lot more space to ride up and down the driveway. And I grab a chair. I put a pizza in the oven for their lunch. And while that's cooking, I go out and I sit with him in the driveway in a chair. The window is open in the kitchen, and that is right next to the driveway. So I could hear when the timer went off on the oven. Everything is cool. So I'm sitting there watching him ride his bike up and down, and then I hear the timer go off for the pizza. I come inside and I grab the pizza. I get ready to get the pizza out of the oven. So of course I use an oven mitt, and I pull the pizza out of the oven, and boom, the oven mitt slips from my hand, and now I am holding a very, very hot cookie sheet with my bare hand. Oh, I screamed and I threw the pan down on the stove, and thank God I was able to save that pizza and just keep it moving. So I, at that same time, in that same moment, my youngest son wakes up from his nap and he's wailing, okay, because he was a wailer. So he's hollering at the top of his lungs, want me to come get him, change him, pull him out the crib, all of that. And my oldest son was still in the driveway riding his bike because there was the window right here in the kitchen. I can still watch him. Well, once all of this stuff happens at once, baby wakes up, I burn my hand simultaneously. I yell out the window for my son to come inside the house. So he comes in, he pulls his bike up, towards the back of the house, comes on in, and I'm trying to nurse my hand. So I'm trying to nurse my hand. I run upstairs to the bathroom so I can be closer to picking up my son and at least comfort him and let him know I'm right there. And while I'm running cold water on my hand in the restroom, I hear boom. What is that? So I tell my older son to entertain my younger son, just so he won't cry. Stand at his crib, talk to him or something so he won't cry. I need to go see what happened. Run downstairs to the front door, look out the window, and my car is no longer in the driveway. What? What do you mean my car is not in the driveway? Where did it go? What happened? I opened the front door, and my car is the opposite direction in the front yard, very, very close to the living room window. Oh my goodness. Okay. So I was shocked, to say the least. And I closed the door and just turned around and started cracking up. I just started laughing hysterically because I'm like, oh my goodness, this day is so crazy. There has to be something that is on the other side of this. I don't know what's coming from this, but there has to be some kind of blessings coming from all of this, because why? I didn't do anything wrong. I'm doing everything by the book, and all of this stuff is just happening back to back to back. Like, what? So I start cracking up. I'm laughing about it because I know there's just something good has to come from this. And I immediately get down on my knees right there in the living room, right by the front door, and I just start praising God. Like, thank you for working this out. I don't know what you're going to do, but I know you're in charge. I know you got a plan for this. There's some reason that all of this happened, and thank you for all your solutions. Thank you for the blessings that will be coming from all of these seemingly catastrophes, because I'm sure that there's more to this story. Thank you so much. So after I have my little praise break, I go upstairs, I get the boys, and I grab the high chair and 2 popsicles. I put my baby in a high chair. I put my older son, had him sitting on the step on the front porch, and gave them both popsicle. And I start talking to them like, guess what? You guys get to meet a police officer and a tow truck driver, and you'll probably even see Mommy's car get strung up on the tow truck and pulled away. How cool is that? You probably won't ever get to see that for a very long time. That's so cool. So they were excited. And this is a fun event now. They're on the porch with popsicles on a summer day, and they're getting ready to meet a police officer and a tow truck driver. They are ecstatic. Okay. Meanwhile, my neighbors are out there having a conniption. Like, oh my goodness, what happened? Are you okay? Is everything all right? Blah, blah, blah. What happened? What an idiot. Like, there's just all of these things going on. Okay. And so I try to keep my distance from my neighbors and the onlookers because they were all like wanting to know from me what happened, and they wanted some sort of reaction or feedback or something from me, okay? But I was not in that space, y'all. No, I was on a whole different page with that situation. Like, I don't know what this is about, but I know God's in control, so it's got to be good, okay? So then, I pretty much blocked them out, did what I had to do, looked at, everything that's going on. My car was totaled. I had paint in my trunk that spilled all over. The 2-seater stroller that was in my trunk that I used all the time was ruined, so I had to get a new one. There was a lot that went on with that situation, but I was so grateful, y'all. I was so grateful that my son was safe. He was just riding his bike in the driveway where my car was. Had my car been moved up a little closer, or I don't know what the damage would have been. Maybe my car wouldn't have got hit if I had it pulled up more. I don't know what it was, but I just know that God was good in that moment, and I was so grateful for it. My house didn't get messed up. When I tell you how close my car was to the living room window, my flower bed didn't even get damaged at all. And the bumper was literally hanging over the flower bed. That's how close it was to the living room window. And nothing got damaged. I just had, a couple deep digs of dirt in the front yard. That's all. So eventually, like 3 days later, I of course I took the clothes to the laundromat, got them dry. My mom let me borrow their other car so I could, get around for the next few days, and also take the clothes to the laundromat. And then, very, very quickly, the insurance handled the claim. And so I was able to put a nice down payment on the car that I really wanted. I wanted a brand new Traverse because I wanted all of that space, and I was able to actually get that within maybe a week or so of the accident, maybe even less. I was so excited. So I say all that to say, no matter what is going on in your life, no matter what circumstances or obstacles are stacked up against you, know that some things are not meant for you to figure out. Some things are not your responsibility to resolve. Our responsibility is to take accountability when necessary, and then, focus on what's good and what good can we do. So I invite you to participate in the end of this weekday wake up session, and I have to give a shout out to my brother for coming up with this. I love this idea that he gave me. So I know that but I just want to make sure that you don't forget. So here's your daily reminder. Your daily reminder is to be grateful. At the end of today, no matter what happens, no matter how your day goes, I challenge you to rest easy in your bed and reflect on 3 things that you can be grateful for before resting and going to sleep. There's so much good that happens. We can be grateful for our breath and our ability to live and move, and, our family or our friends, or just having, our basic needs met, or at least some of our needs met. There's so many things that we can be grateful for. If nothing else, we can always be grateful for life itself. So I invite you to think of 3 things that you can be grateful for at the end of today. And be on the lookout. Be intentional about looking out for those opportunities to give up praise or to just be grateful. On that note, I thank you for participating in this weekday wake up experience. I invite you to share these episodes with your family and friends if you find them helpful. And of course, remember to check in and subscribe on YouTube if you're listening on Spotify, and vice versa. Go to Spotify and check out the podcast if you're watching on YouTube. I thank you so much for your time and your support. There's only a few of you right now, but it's all right. I'm not worried about it. I thank you for you few, and I hope that you enjoy this episode on your journey, doing whatever it is you have to do for today. Have a great day. See you later.